team right now because you don't know when it's going to end. You embrace it while it's happening. And right now, the Mariners are fifth in the latest power rankings. How about that? They're in the top 5. They've cracked the top 5. Just think, after 100 games, which was not long ago, we're looking at a 500 team going, ugh, man, they just can't get the offense going consistently, and they're kind of hanging around, but they're not, they're 7 games back, they're 6 games back. I mean, they were just kind of 4th place, 3rd place, 4th place. Thank goodness for the A's being as dreadful as they were. So it was just, you're just kind of in no man's land for the majority of the season, and for them to go on this tear, and now you just fast forward a couple of weeks, and they're in the top 5 in the power rankings right now.
Well, and if you just go back and look at, since, we talked about this yesterday, Teoscar's numbers and, the number of 8 or 9 games. He struck out last night, right? But 8 or 9 games where he didn't strike out in this month. And, you look at what he's doing at the plate. I mean, you compare that to the numbers up to that point. They just got hot. So this is, just keep riding it. They did to the A's last night exactly what you would want. And I don't know if anybody's thinking, well, it is the A's. Hey, you still took care of business. And it's like, we're on this plane, we're on this level, we're just going to stay here, and it doesn't matter who we play. But, the strength of schedule is going to get really, really difficult at the end of this season. It's going to be against Houston and Texas, and they're probably going to have one of the toughest goes of anybody, maybe top 5. I don't know if the Orioles and Tampa are playing, but
you still got the Dodgers, you still got the Reds, you got the Rays, you got the Mets, who are underperforming certainly, but they are very
got a lot of firepower.
Yeah, it's just you don't take any of these teams for granted. Even the A's. The A's can beat you. They can find a way to beat you. They got nothing to lose. They can play very loose, and you need to pick up as many of these wins you look at, or these games that you look at and say you should beat this team. You need as many of those tucked away. You need to stack them, Dave, as you like to say. And I was asking this question on the show sheet. Which do you think would be a bigger deal in this city? A Super Bowl win from the Seahawks or a World Series win for the Mariners?
Man, it's hard to say just because you don't really know what a World Series win would look like. We do know what a Super Bowl win looks like, and that was pretty crazy, man. That was a wild day. You saw the number of people there, just the lined streets all the way to the stadium. I mean,
and it was cold.
It was cold that day, but yeah, it was. I don't know. I think it'd be about the same. I feel like they would be equally proud.
Oh yeah, they'd be equally proud. I don't know. There's something about the Mariners being, just kind of the underdogs for so long, just never getting to the post. 20 years of not even getting to the postseason, and they break that last year. I think there's a lot of built up, just you want to root for them, you want to believe it's going to happen, and then when it finally happens, I think the World Series would be a bigger deal. I really do. I think this town would explode. Not that they didn't for the Seahawks, certainly. They did, without question.
But because of the fact that it's just been such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's the only team in baseball that hasn't been. It's not much, not just win, but just getting there. I mean, they've never even been to the World Series. So, yeah, I think it'd be bigger. Now, maybe the answer would be different if the Seahawks hadn't won. Like if we were sitting here going, well, they went in 05 and they lost, and say they went in 13 and 14 and they lost, but they'd never won one. Maybe the answer would be different. But I don't know. I just think there's something about that pent up, we're long-suffering Mariner fan. It's just never going to happen. You just become so jaded and all of that. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a good team for the 3rd consecutive year, going to the postseason presumably for the 2nd consecutive year. And I'm not saying they're going to win it this year, but if they did or win it next year, whatever, this town, I think it'd be a holiday. I think businesses would shut down.
Yeah, 206 says, have this conversation yesterday. In my opinion, World Series by far is more important. I just think it would be the same. It's going to be packed the whole way through. And then the only thing I hope, and I think this is like therapy for me, it still gets me, Super Bowl 49. I hope the Mariners don't ever go through anything like that. Ever. But yeah, I feel like it would pretty much be the same. I mean, you're gonna. I mean, people. If both teams went and won the Seahawks win the Super Bowl, the Mariners win a World Series, I feel like it would be pretty much the same as far as celebrating.
Yeah, I know. You guys can weigh in on that. 866-979-3776, powered by Mac and Jack's Brewing Company. Which would be a bigger deal to you? World Series win for the Mariners or a Super Bowl for the Seahawks? Both huge. You've experienced one of them. You've seen how the city reacted to that, and they just went bananas, as they should, and that was a magical, magical time, obviously. Not diminishing any of that, but I'm leaning toward the Mariners just because of the long-suffering feeling you have as a fan, where the Seahawks have had so much success from that Super Bowl on. I mean, you're in the playoffs every year. Every year you feel like you're a Super Bowl contender almost. So it's such a different attitude toward that team and expectation, whereas this one, you feel like you've kind of gone through battle